right, so this is a sport. This is sports talk right here. I'm just gonna just talk about my favorite team, the Milwaukee Bucks. You know what I'm saying? Milwaukee Bucks. They just won the championship, 2021 NBA champions. No matter how anyone feels about it, you know what I'm saying? Because there's been a lot of talk about how people feel about it, obviously, um, me included. I've been watching these sports analysts, these experts, these players that have played the game, which and I value their opinions tremendously. So what I mean. I just want to say that first, but it's kind of crazy, man. I've never seen a NBA champs get this much disrespect. Um, there's a lot of people that are saying what they're saying, and it's actually pretty interesting to see how people don't like the Milwaukee Bucks, which makes this win so much sweeter as a fan because I just knew that it was only a matter of time till they figured it out, man. At least I was hoping, you know what I'm saying, and my hopes were answered. You know, I always thought Giannis was, for the last couple years, thought he was best, but yeah, man. But watching the sports world react to this, it's really kind of disheartening because as soon as they win a championship, and of course they're going to talk about the MVP, which was Giannis, um, they were basically dissecting, and they were saying, there's no way he's the best, and he's the most dominant. They were saying like he's like a Shaq, he's like a young Shaq. He's the most dominant, and no offense to Shaq, no offense to Shaq. He's big Aristotle, big Diesel, but he wasn't even doing this at 26. Um, and they were saying things like, this player, I'm not even going to mention certain players. I'm just going to talk about Giannis. But they were saying like this certain player is more skilled than Giannis, and Giannis is just dominant. He's not the most skilled. And I was like, okay, I understand that to some extent. There's players that can shoot better. There's players that can, I don't know, do this better, do that better. But at the end of the day, for me, if I'm picking a play, if someone told me, Chance, um, who do you think? I don't know too much about basketball. Pick me a player that it's dominant on offense and dominant on defense. Who's that guy? Because I don't know too much about basketball. I would say Giannis. You're gonna go for Giannis Antetokounmpo in Milwaukee. That's who you're gonna pick. You're gonna pick if you want to pick someone who's dominant on offense and defense. There's only one guy that is like the upper echelon of both of those things. Change complexity of the game, offensively, defensively. I think he's a total package. There's a lot of players that can shoot the ball better, but if we're talking about all the intangibles, offense, defense, man, I don't think there's anyone honestly at this point, what I'm saying, I think he's at the top of that heap, what I'm saying? And I guess, people, I've been hearing a lot of talk, people saying, ultimately people have been saying in the media that it's mutually exclusive, right? That's what I'm getting. It's mutually exclusive to be the most skilled and be the most dominant. And I'm just thinking, okay, well, if that's the case, and these are experts, what I'm saying, they know the game far better than anyone I know and me, but I disagree. What I'm saying, I simply think, usually that tells a sign if someone's the most dominant in the league. That means that means they could at least have that. They're at least in a discussion of most skilled for me. You know what I'm saying? Because if someone's the most dominant, that means they're doing everything they can, and they're asserting themselves on the competition. Not because the competition is lesser, but just because they're better. So they're better in a way that is transcending. And I think that's what the Bucks have in Giannis. And I think it's gonna be. I think it's fantastic to see someone of his size and stature have so much athleticism, be able to impact the game offensively, defensively, and also being able to be this type of player where he doesn't have like a fantastic jump shot like some other people or handles to that extent like some other people, but the fact that he's actually doing what he's doing in this day and age with this style of play, and, I think that speaks to how even more talented he is and dominant he is. The to be so dominant, and basically play bully ball in a league that's smaller, in a league that's it's about basically just for the most part shooting the ball. You know what I'm saying? Shooting the ball. I mean, uh, I was looking at some statistic where it was saying that most of the baskets made in the NBA um, are, I think it was like what 60. I think it's like 60. I read somewhere in the article that it says 60 to 70% of the baskets made in the NBA aren't even made, 17 feet to the basket. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's not even made, that close. It's out on the perimeter. So when I hear things like that, it just makes me think even more of, Giannis. Because I'm like, okay, well, I'll take the most dominant player. You can have the most skilled player. I'm going to take the most dominant player that crushes the competition. How about that? You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, I just, I love bully ball. You know what I'm saying? That's the reason that's what made me like basketball. Just like, players that dominated and players that were um, just not trying to necessarily be mean to anyone on the court, but just like assert themselves and be like, okay, I'm not here to shake hands. I'm not necessarily here to be, obviously after the game's over and if they win or lose, they shake hands. But I mean, like shake hands and not trying to be friends all the time, every second they can be on the court. Because at the end of the day, it's competition. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's what I love about Giannis. Because Giannis even said there were certain times where he could have trained with certain players that are the faces of the NBA, and he was like, "No, you know what? I don't want to do that. I want to keep the essence of competition." And not saying it was right or wrong, but I just thought that was pretty cool. You know what I'm saying? I was like, "Wow, this dude wants to do it his own way. He doesn't see the importance of being buddy buddy with everyone like it seems like a lot of NBA players are nowadays. Which is cool. You know what I'm saying? It is cool because. A lot of players in the 80s and 90s, just looking at the history, they kind of made it seem like they didn't hang out when they really did. You know what I'm saying? Which is funny, but you know, and I'm not bashing friendship or being friendly to other players, but I do find it pretty refreshing to have a player that's just in his state, um, in his home. I mean, in his town. Trying to uplift that town and really putting a city on his back, you know what I mean? And not being like, okay, I'm a do something else if this doesn't work. I just really appreciated that Giannis stuck it out, signed the extension, you know what I mean? When he lost a couple times in the playoffs, I didn't know if the Bucks were gonna, just blow it up. I didn't know if he was gonna leave, but he stayed and he signed that 5-year extension. Like I think yet last year, which made me really excited because I was like, okay, you know what I mean. I didn't know if I seen it, if I seen the vision, like man, like damn, I guess. You know what I mean? He might go to greener pastures because he even said in his press conference, he's like, I could have went anywhere. Um, I go anywhere. You know what I'm saying? Still can. And so I was like, man, I don't know. But then he signed that contract, and I was like, okay, he sees it. You know what I'm saying? He sees it, and so I believe. And so yeah, man, I don't really. So just to go back to my question, like I don't know. I don't think it's mutually exclusive to be the most skilled and the most dominant. Not I don't. Not every case. You know what I'm saying? Not every case. Because there was a time when Shaq was the most dominant. You gonna tell me he wasn't the most skilled? Like I mean, I don't know. I don't know. There's experts out there that know these things, but my opinion. Um, I don't think they're mutually exclusive. I think that's just, to be honest. I think it's just a way to kind of discredit a player. You know what I mean? Because if there's a guy, if my favorite player is in the NBA finals and he's scoring 40, 40, 50, got massive blocks here and there, I'm not going to really, a lot of people like to say things like you are captured by the moment. You are being arrested by the moment. And I don't believe that. I think that's nonsense to think that a guy that can score 40 points multiple times in the NBA Finals and 50 points in the finals and have crucial blocks, be dominant on offense and defense. To say that player is not anywhere near the most skilled player is absolute nonsense. And but experts be experts, but whatever. But yeah, You know what I'm saying? This is sports talk though. Y'all know what it is. We don't talk in hypotheticals. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. I can't tell you what it could have been. I only can tell you what it is. You know what I mean? Bucks, let's go.